everyone, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a kind of a book review. Back in April, during my wrap-up, I missed 2 books, and they were ebooks, so out of sight, out of mind, right? And I told you that I was going to review these books in a separate video because they're not even out yet. I got these 2 arcs from NetGalley, and I think one of them is out right now, and I think that's Trouble Girls. So yes, Trouble Girls came out on June 1st. It is June 14th. So let's go ahead and talk about that one. So Trouble Girls, it's by Julia Lynn Rubin, and I didn't enjoy it. I ended up giving this a 2 out of 5, and it's a queer YA Me Too reimagining of Thelma and Louise. Growing up, I used to watch Thelma and Louise all the time with my mom. Me and my mom even talked about going on a road trip together after I graduated high school, but that didn't happen because I had an offspring. But yeah, so this is about 2 girls, Trixie and Lux. And Trixie works at this diner where she gets leered at by all these guys, and she hates it, and she calls them pigs. So after her work shift one day for the weekend, she picks up her best friend Lux, and they go on this road trip. Her best friend Lux is like obsessed with Diet Coke and has the bladder of like a stone, so she has to go to the bathroom constantly. And they go to this bar where they can try to get booze underage, and it doesn't work because the bartender, she's seen it all. Anyways, if you've seen Thelma and Louise, then you know the bar scene where the guy is dancing with Gina Davis's character, and Gina Davis gets slap out drunk, and she's almost raped. Well, Lux, she is dancing with this frat boy, and Trixie is like, this pig is like this and this. Trixie is in love with Lux. This is a LGBTQ rep book, and she realizes that Lux has been gone a while, and the frat boy is trying to rape her in the bathroom, and he's got his mouth over her hand, and she's just crying. So Trixie stabs him. Yeah, so I didn't really enjoy this book because it wasn't a good rep of Me Too. I didn't mention it at all. It had some representatives saying that the frat boy was being protected and that his family was throwing all this money to find out who did it, who killed him, and it was just how this wasn't the first time he tried to rape or that he sexually assaulted somebody. It was just so it was dragged on by the constant longing and angst of Trixie. She kept looking at Lux and just wanted to tell her how she felt, and it was just, get to the point already. You're alone. You're not going to ruin your friendship. Where's she going to go? She can't drive. And it was just crazy that they had $2,000 in money, and they kept blowing it on fancy hotel rooms and all of these souvenirs. Lux had a problem with buying souvenirs at every place, and she was like, oh well, we've got money. And then she kept getting mad at Trixie for Trixie not talking to her about, well, when the money got down, and why didn't you stop me? And I would have stopped, and we didn't need all this crap. It was just like blame game, back and forth, and I hated it. Such whiny teenagers, and I could not stand it whatsoever. Yeah. The ending, they are walking. The ending was so rushed. It's not as rushed as the end of the movie because you can tell what's going to happen, and it just seems like the people that were looking for them just popped up out of nowhere and got them. It doesn't leave it open-ended. You can tell what was going to happen to them. Like, it was implied, but at the end of the movie, did they make it? Did they fall in? Did they survive the crash? You know, it was open-ended. But I ended up giving this a 2. It took me 3 days to read, and honestly, it was 1 day too long. I wanted to like this, I really did, but it was drawn out, it was whiny, it was rushed, it was not a good flow, and it was very repetitive. So, Now, my favorite read was The Dead in the Dark by Courtney Golding. This comes out in August, and I want it right now. So this is a creepy LGBT horror, YA horror, and I was here for it. So this is about a girl named Logan. Her 2 dads are on this popular ghost hunting show. And, yeah. Okay, the first thing I'm going to say was little snippets of the show dialogue being included was so freaking cringe. I love Ghost Adventures, and when I was reading that, I was like, no. So, Logan and her dad are packing up their LA home to go to Oregon to film an episode of their TV show. Logan's other dad is already in Oregon, and he's been there for a couple months scouting. Both her dads are from this town in Oregon called Snakebite, which is where they're filming, and they want to uncover some mysteries about what's going on. And so, because teenagers are disappearing, and yeah, it was creepy, it was plot twisty, it was everything. So they get to this Oregon town, and this other girl, Ashley, she's our other main character, her boyfriend is missing, and they're having a funeral memorial for him, and then on the day that they're having the memorial, Logan and her dads pull up, and they instantly get death glares, and like, why are they here? They need to move. It's like a small southern town that has a problem with outsiders, and will make it known to you like, you're new in town, you need to turn around and get, your kind's not welcome. Something like that. Homophobic, like everything. So yeah, I could understand the small town aspect, because I live in a small town under 700 people where everybody knows everybody, and newcomers, they are like that. So yeah, I was confused at the beginning because I didn't understand what was going on, especially with the show, and it was just back and forth until it got into the background of what they were actually doing. I thought the kid was just watching a ghost show. I didn't know until like a couple chapters in that it was her father's TV show. And yeah, so Logan becomes friends with Ashley, and Logan is trying to figure out what's wrong with her dad, who's been in Oregon, and it's got paranormal aspects. That she starts seeing things at this cabin that used to be theirs where she was born, and the main honcho in this town, Ashley Barton's mom, who's like everything. Well, I got a couple in my town that thinks they're hot shit, but they're not. But she has, it's like Barton this and Barton that. You gotta have your name all over the town to make sure you're known. And yeah, she tries to run Logan and her dad's out of town. She's like, oh, well, you're going to be talked about. I'm trying to save you from being harassed. You need to leave, and you're not welcome here. And it's just, yeah, so I really I loved this book so much. The paranormal aspects. I was reading this at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and my husband was asleep right here, and he would make these sounds. It seems like every time I read a spooky book, he makes sounds, and I get scared. So, like, I was on a particular creepy part where Logan and Ashley were doing something in a graveyard, like a this town had a potter's field, so like the potter's field of the graveyard. They were doing something, I'm not going to spoil it, and then my husband, he just goes, no. And I'm like, what? It's like a running joke in our house now with our friends, because every time we start talking about something spooky, they just go, no. And it just creeps me out. So, yeah. So my husband had something to do with the enjoyment of this book. So, yes. It says, The Dead in the Dark is about the things that lurk in dark corners, the parts of you that can't remain hidden, and about finding home in places and people you didn't expect. So, yeah. It's not so much about the relationship. The relationship doesn't take over, which I really enjoyed. It's just like a second storyline, and like the main investigation, it's the main. It's like front and center, and then the relationship comes in here and there, but it doesn't overpower the story, which was great in my opinion. I think YA is too much into relationships and not enough into like living and life lessons and stuff. It's all about if you're in this relationship or finding yourself with this person. It's just, yeah. YA needs to be more like middle grade with the learning and topic aspect, not just sex and relationships. So, yeah. Alright, these in April. Absolutely loved them. So that is it for my April 2.0 wrap up. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Have you read Trouble Girls yet? And if you did, let me know how you thought about it, or what you thought about it down below. Did you like it? How'd you feel about the Me Too aspect? It wasn't inclusive. It wasn't inclusive enough, in my opinion. It was more like a passing thought. And yeah, so I'll see you on my next video.